Notice the cool hat I've worn today, the Great Smoky Mountain Railway down there in the south. We love these railways every time we go on vacation. But this time we're going to join the world of miniatures. We're back at the Seton Catholic Central School gym on the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base for what I believe is the 10th annual Champlain Valley Modelers Association or group presentation with a craft show. We haven't done it here in a few years, so Calvin said, hey, let's go back. And on the 18th day of October 2008, everybody's getting the pumpkins in and getting ready for Halloween, and we're going to talk model railroads. This is something that, who doesn't like trains? Who doesn't have memories of their first Lionel set? And mine goes back to the late 1930s and early 1940s. We'll talk to many of our friends whom we've talked to before, and we'll bring you up to date on this wonderful model railroad show and craft show at Seton on the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base. Seems like we just left. Hey, Sadar, how are you?
Pretty good, you?
Good to see you.
Yeah.
How are things going up in your neck of the woods?
Well, everybody's cutting wood.
Boy, aren't they really cutting wood.
You wouldn't believe the people go by the house with a load of wood and stuff.
Yes, I will, because I know what's been happening, and I watch the price of that crude oil every single day in the market. Thank goodness it's, as we're doing this toward the end of October, it's down, I think, still below $70 a barrel, but people are saying, I can't afford it anymore. Let's put in a wood stove or a pellet stove or some kind of a stove. And you don't burn your wood.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you burn wood too?
I burn wood in my shop, and I burn wood in my house.
Do you really?
Yeah.
But you save enough to make all these wonderful things, don't you?
Yes, I work around it.
Every time I walk into my river room where I do a lot of my writing, I see the little figures that you gave me.
He does.
And Calvin does the same. And I've come to the conclusion that they look exactly like us.
Well.
So what do you got here today? I know you're at the craft show. You've been here before. Seems like we just talked to you.
I got my wooden toys and something new I made penguins this year.
Well, of course, with all the penguin movies and all that stuff.
Yes, and it's mostly the same.
You got you make quite a variety of things. I love these little log houses. Do they come apart or do they,
no,
glued
that's
together?
all one piece, all but the furniture.
Oh, no kidding. And then you have the furniture that goes in it?
Yeah, there's furniture inside there.
What little child wouldn't like that one, huh?
I donated some to the Head Start.
Did you really?
Yeah, they say 2 kids can play with it good, but the third one, well, they're kind of pushing each other.
I like these rubber band. That doesn't look quite like the ones that we used to make when we were kids.
The
Oh, don't aim it at Calvin. Poor Calvin. Oh, come on.
You put it in there, and if you want to shoot it, just bear down on the...
Look at that. Yeah, sure. She's
It's
got
a
to go
simple
get...
toy. Is the only thing, the clothespin will come loose.
So you tighten it up.
Yeah.
Put another one on there. Whatever happens. I like that.
You like that?
You love to make things, don't you? You've
Yeah.
always been that way.
Yeah.
For those people who are watching this program for the first time, I want to remind them what a close friend Asa was with the late Ardo Monaco, one of the dearest people we ever met in our lives, and we miss him, but I guess that Glad's still going strong, isn't she?
She had to put a new furnace in.
Oh, she did?
Oh, my.
Oh, my.
You know, she's got her own income coming, and
she's been around for a long time, and she's still got her wits about her, and we're going to try to make a little connection with her and bring the hometown cable cameras and Calvin up to her place sometime and see what's going on in her life. A lot of water over the dam since Ardo died. Huh?
Yeah. Everything is settled up there, but I can't get a hold of Bob to find out what's going on.
Of course, we're very interesting. We've heard so many people talk about it, and the starting Ardo Monaco museums, and and we heard that they were going to have a special spot up at Santa's workshop. I don't know if they ever did that or not.
No,
Did they?
I ain't heard nothing.
Isn't that amazing? We went up there and had a special time when they opened one time.
I saw it on television, yeah.
Yeah. Now, those are wonderful memories. And somebody else sent me an email last week and asked me if I knew anything about that mystery spot on the way up to Lake Placid, that place where we used to, where it was open for years and then finally closed, and they wanted to know if Ardo Monaco had anything to do with that. Well, if I know him, he probably drew some pictures or did something up there.
You sketched something for him.
I don't know the people that owned it, though, do you?
No.
No, it's been closed for many years. So anyway, you're gonna be here just today.
Yep, just today.
See if people come by. Maybe you'll make $5 million. It'll help you buy a few Christmas presents and. Well, you never know.
You never get rich, but I enjoy going out there and take a board and put it on my radio arm saw and, figure out what I'm going to make out of it.
Think of how many kids you've pleased. Since when did you start doing this?
Well, way back in the 50s I started.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And you tinkered around at Ardo's shop for...
Oh, that guy learned me a lot, showed me a lot.
He was just an amazing guy. It makes me smile to think about him, especially to think about the first time he offered me a cup of coffee.
Oh.
Because here, take this cup, Gordy. This is the cleanest one. I looked at it and I said, the cleanest one? It hadn't been washed since 1939. There was the residue of 8 million cups of black coffee and who knows, maybe some axle grease in there. I graciously accepted. Does Glad still have any of the dogs, or are they all gone too now?
They're all gone.
Oh, wasn't a shame.
She got another one though.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, keep her company and stuff.
Nobody loved animals more.
What's the name of that dog she got now?
Ben.
Oh, Ben. Ben the dog. Well, every one of the shows we ever did when you were there and other folks were there was always a dog around with his head on your leg or on your foot or somewhere.
Looking for a snack.
A little snack. Those are absolutely wonderful, pleasant memories. We got something we want to give to you, and I'd like to present this. You open it up and take a look at it and tell me what you think. Because you know our good friend Sid Couchy, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
You had him on television the other night.
Oh, isn't he wonderful? Take a look at this.
Wow.
That's a poster of a painting that he did. Because you know that the quadricentennial is coming up next year when old Sammy de Champlain came down the... Isn't that cool?
Yes, that is.
So Calvin wanted to bring that to make that presentation to you. Turn it around. You hold one corner and I'll hold the other corner. We'll take a look at that. Oh, Sid draws just about as good today as he did when he was 22 years old. And what you might be interested in knowing is that Sid Couchy, the Harvey comic book cartoonist who drew Richie Rich, Little Lotto, and all the others, is going to be 90 years old in May of 2009. And Ruth's going to be 80, and they're going to celebrate their 50th anniversary. I think that's kind of cool.
Well, guys, I thank you very much for this.
Isn't that great?
I'll treasure it forever.
Oh, maybe you can even make a special homemade wooden frame for it. You never know.
Yeah.
I bet you could do that. Have you ever made any frames?
Oh, yes.
Is there nothing this man
Remember the big one he had on that table once up there?
Oh, yes.
I helped put that together with him.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well, there's certainly nothing that he wouldn't tackle, right? From toys and games and everything else. Asadar, great to talk to you.
Thanks.
Best of good health. You're going to feel a lot better in 2009 than you did this year. We know you've had your problems.
Oh, yes.
We'll be thinking
I just got out of the hospital last week.
That's all right. Tell him you're never going back. You're going to be 100% starting right now.
Yeah.
See you later, my friend.
I thank you very much.
Have a great day. You're welcome.
Calvin, thank you for this.
Mr. Dave Brown, how are you?
Just a little. Very good.
See, I was thinking last night as I was chatting with you on the telephone how many years we've known each other And we determined that you moved into Baker's Trailer Park again in 1965.
No, for the first time,
Oh,
1965.
for the first time. And I moved there in 1966.
Yep.
And that ain't yesterday.
No, it's not. It's a couple weeks ago.
I went down there to take a few digital photographs of all the woods that were gone.
Yep.
What a difference when you drive down that Adirondack Lane these days.
Yep. Yeah.
Isn't that
We used to be so quiet down there. Nobody knew we were there, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, you made yourself known, David.
No,
Come on.
I mean, we didn't have, we just kind of were quiet down there. Nobody bothered us.
You and I were remembering the other day about our friend that used to shoot the cannon off. What was his name?
Roland.
Roland what?
O'Dara.
O'Dara, yeah. He had made a cannon up at the at Sheridan, right?
Yeah, I have that cannon.
Oh, you have it?
I have it, yeah.
He fired it off one day, and it's a wonder it didn't wake the dead, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we fired it out at when Janko's had the range out there. The
you
range.
did?
Yeah, we shot it out there a couple times.
I love it.
With Roland before I had it.
Well, this modeler show has gone on 10 years. Is that possible?
Didn't seem it.
It says 10th annual.
Does it?
Yeah. Were you involved right from the beginning, Dave?
Yeah, with Jim's we were, yeah.
Now
this is Fire Police, actually.
This is Fire Police today?
Yeah.
And
they're the ones who put this show on.
Okay, and they always have, or
yeah,
from the very beginning?
Right, yeah. The original Modular Railroad put on one many years ago before I was involved in it, down at the Crate Center. And then they just did the one show. And then, I don't know, it kind of died out for a while. And then Fire Police, of course, Jim's into railroading, so he got it started as a train show, and then that kind of fizzled, so now it's craft and trains and everything
whatever
else.
Happens, and we're recording this in the Seton Catholic Gym. Is this a pretty good spot for you?
Seems to be.
You've been here how many times?
3 years. I think this is our third year. Here, yeah.
It's hard for me to remember because you were set up in the mall one year, right?
Yeah, we set up before Christmas one year, and it used to be a bank, I guess, one time.
You know, we talk about big kids and little kids loving model trains. And this has been a passion of yours since you were a young guy,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we always dabbled in them. We never had much money to buy them, but we had a few,
right?
and the neighbors did, and, we always put them together, and always had a good time with them.
I remember the first Lionel set that we had as little kids, way back when, in the late 1930s and early 1940s. And I was looking in my shed a couple of years ago. Who knows what gets packed in there over the years? Not that you'd know about being a pack rat,
no,
David.
not me.
But I found a Tyco set that we bought for the kids, I don't know, 30 or more years ago. One of these days I'll take it out and see if the transformer will still fire up.
If not, I've got a spare one.
Oh, you do? I imagine you have more than one spare.
We got a lot of those little ones kicking around.
But you still have your layout upstairs at home, right?
Yeah, we still have that.
In Peru, our hometown cable cameras have been there.
Several times, yes.
Do you add to it all the time, or do you play up there all the time, or what?
Not as far as track. You go redo things that you that you did years ago, and you can do better now, and sometimes replace sections of track where they're not running quite right. I had a couple sections I just replaced because I could do it better now than I did originally.
Have you ever measured how many feet of track you have?
Well, I know it was over 300 feet.
Come on.
No, first 2 years, I think that's all I bought at train shows was track. And I know I bought at least 300 feet, maybe closer to 400.
That's amazing. And how many cars?
Oh, I couldn't even start to tell you.
No, just hundreds?
Probably 100, 150.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You have some that are just on display, right, around your place?
I have some Lionel Marks, American Flyer that I just put on display. But most of my HO I run.
You better insure that for about $500,000.
Not worth quite that much.
So do you spend a little time up there every week?
In the summer, it kind of lays idle.
Yeah.
In the winter, it's, we just operated there last Tuesday night. We go back and forth to each other's house.
Now, and your particular club is called the
Adirondack Lake Champlain Railway.
Adirondack Lake Champlain Railway. For those people who heard me butcher it in the very beginning of this program, there you go. How many regular members do you have, David?
Let's see.
He's counting. Oh, I love it.
About 7 or 8.
Really?
Yeah.
And it varies. You've had more, you've had less.
We have some that just come once in a while, don't have modules. And like Shane right there, he doesn't have a module. He's
When
a
you're talking
college
about a
student.
module, what does that mean?
It's each section.
Oh, I see.
These are 6-foot sections.
So these, what you have here today is displays of the various members put together, their modules?
Yeah. That one's mine. This one's Dave Hull's. This one's Rosie's. That one's Larry's. You just go right around.
Oh, isn't that great?
And some of us have corners. We made 4 corners, and then people adopted those.
So
But Larry's got a corner. I have a corner. Glenn's got a corner with the mountain over there. And that one over there, nobody really has, but we just kind of threw a couple things on it.
put some stuff on
It's kind
it.
of an orphan.
Well, how much stuff have you actually built? Do you build your own stuff?
What do you mean, on the models or
The models,
the buildings mostly? The cars, I usually buy them pre-assembled.
some people actually build them, don't
Oh
they?
yeah. There's some people that are incredibly talented.
Talented that way?
Yeah, between my eyes and my fingers,
Yeah, I've always
neither
had a
one
problem
works very good anymore.
coordinating those things.
Oh,
But you built buildings.
yeah, most of the buildings you have to assemble. Just in the last 4 or 5 years, they've started to come pre-assembled. You can buy them all.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, you can. Costs a little bit more.
Some of my earliest memories from wandering from pillar to post in Thornwood in Westchester County are of a gentleman who had a model train shop along the street. And I would walk in here and there and watch him as he built the mountains.
Oh yeah.
And I think he built a lot of stuff out of paper mache.
Yeah,
And
that's
then painted it
yeah. That was the way they used to do it: paper mache and chicken wire.
and chicken wire.
Yeah.
And for a little kid, this to me was absolutely incredible.
Now
Even then, he had the lights and the,
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
smoke, and
yeah. Now we use a lot of styrofoam.
you do.
Yeah, a lot of styrofoam replaces that. Some people still use they use cardboard and use the gauze that's impregnated with plaster like they used to use for
I see.
casts.
Sure, yes.
That works real good.
Now, this show is it just a one-day affair?
Yeah.
We're
this year.
doing this on the 18th.
Yeah, this is one
of
day this
October.
year. It was 2 days, but you cut it down to 1 day. Last year you cut it to 1 day.
Yeah. But it's fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were here for about 4 hours last night setting this up and getting everything running. It takes about an hour to set the actual modules up, and then a few of us stayed and played around a bit.
I knew you did, because I knew what time you called me when you got home last night. I wanted to make sure you were here, because we have to head out of town later today, and I want to make sure I see this. Just about everybody I know is at least attracted
Yeah,
to model railroading.
yeah. They're fascinated by it.
I saw a picture in one of the papers of George Bissell Jr.
Yeah.
and his setup.
He's got 2 beautiful layouts in the basement of Weed there.
And it's still in the same place
Yeah.
downstairs.
Yeah.
I remember with the records and the railroad and the trains when I
Yep.
started work there
Yeah.
on July 4th of 1961.
He's got a really nice O-scale layout down there, and then he's got he used to have G gauge, and then he got hooked up with us, and he sold all that and went to HO.
Some of our viewers may not have any idea what the gauges mean, so explain a little bit of that to me.
Well, you start with Z gauge, which is the width of the track, the distance between the rails.
Oh, I see.
Z is the smallest, and then you got N, then you have HO.
Are these HO?
This is HO right here.
Okay, right.
And then you have O gauge, and then you have G gauge, which is Garden Railway, which used to be the #1 gauge years ago.
Oh, Carl Coates has the Garden Railway, right?
Yeah. The HO actually stands for half O. It's half
Oh, is that it?
the size of.
See, I
of
wouldn't
line
know
now,
that
or O
until you.
gauge.
You're such a smart guy.
And the others are just, I don't know if they're arbitrary or what.
Well, tell me some of the differences these days from when you started.
Oh my. Well, it used to be just a transformer, and you ran one train on one track, and that was it. Now they went to block systems. People that were good at wiring would wire block systems, to where you could control the train for a certain section. Then you would have to throw a switch for the next section, and that way you could run several trains at once. Now we have digital command control.
Now that we have to explain, because
Yeah.
that's different from the old
Yeah,
transformers.
this is all. Every engine has a decoder in it, and we have a. If you pan over there, you can see underneath there. You can see the
Oh, I see on the other side.
control
Okay.
box for it right there.
I see the lights blinking.
Yeah, and that that'll run up to 100 engines right there.
Come on.
No.
Isn't that amazing?
And you have to have each person has to have a controller. You can run 2 engines on each controller. And like the one with the Canadian Pacifics there, they're MU'd, which is what the real trains do. You see a diesel, 3-4 diesels, and you have one person running them all because they're hooked together to run. And you do the same thing with these with the digital command control.
Now with
and you can run one train right behind the other, and each person has separate control.
No kidding.
So we have to be careful we don't run into each other.
That would be a good factor. How about sights and sounds? You know, some trains have lights.
A lot of them have
smoke.
sound now. You don't see smoke too much in HO, but we do have sound.
Can you control that with your digital?
Yeah, you can blow the horn and the bell, and some of them have
little voices coming out.
Oh
of
yeah,
there.
you can have the sound of the couplers and the brakes squealing and the wheels squealing as they go around the corners, and it gets pretty sophisticated.
Boys and their toys.
Oh yes.
But you know what? I've met women who are into model railroading too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was a couple that came down from Canada a few years ago up at the Crate Center, and he had the trains and she did all the scenery.
No kidding.
Yeah, it was they represented Canada from the Atlantic to the Pacific, each section of Canada, and it was just fantastic layout, beautiful.
You know, you have an interest in regular, real, full-size railroads in the history of railroading.
Oh, yeah.
And you've traveled, I don't know how many thousands of miles to go and see railroads, haven't you?
Yeah, we made a trip a few years ago and went all the way down to West Virginia.
That had to be so much fun.
It was.
I saw your slides, and I didn't want to go home. My wife was in the doorway for about an hour and a half, going back and forth on each foot.
Yeah, the 3 of us went, myself and Dave Hall over there and Jim Morris, and we went to West Virginia, and then we just kind of worked our way home, stopping here and stopping there.
Isn't it fun? I love to go to the scenic railways. I had to wear my special hat today from the Smoky Mountains. And we've done a couple of shows here and down south at the scenic railways. Isn't it great to see those old steam engines?
It's good that they preserve them, you know?
Yeah.
It's good that they preserve them because there's a lot of history.
Well, there's a lot to learn.
Oh, yeah.
For you to know the size. You were explaining as we were watching those slides the difference between one engine and another, and I would have no clue what you were talking about.
There's a lot that I don't know. I know some, but there's a lot that I don't know. A couple of these other guys are more up to date on steam than I am.
But besides visiting regular railways, you go to shows every now and again.
Yeah, we go to Springfield. We go to Glens Falls on December 14th.
Well, you've got plans already for this one?
March 21st, there's one in Essex Junction at the fairgrounds. And the one in Springfield, we go to shop. That's a big show.
So you plan every year. This is Christmas for you, right?
Yeah, we go right through the end of January shows and save our money and spend it.
You love to take pictures as well.
Yep.
So you can share those photographs with other people.
Yep.
David, for those people who don't know who Dave Brown is, I can't imagine
I'm sure there's a couple.
Who doesn't know old Graybeard. But you love to take photographs out at Airborne Speedway.
Yeah.
You've done that for quite a while now.
Yeah, it was my 15th year this year.
Some of the most incredible crash pictures I have ever seen anywhere you've taken. I don't know how. It's a matter of being at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, gotta be looking the right way at the right time. And I've stood there and wondered why they threw a caution a couple times and turned around and there's a wreck right behind me, you know.
Oh yeah.
You just have to be looking the right way at the right time.
And isn't it great? Somebody made me a CD or DVD of some of the old races and some of the old photographs. And isn't it great to look at some of the old Bob Mackey and other guys who took pictures?
Is that the one Bobby Castine did there?
Oh my.
Yeah, Bobby Castine did has a lot of old pictures.
Just a lot of great stuff. Well, if I had a railroad hat, I would have worn it today. At least you've got the Adirondack Lake Champlain Railroad hat on today, David. And your wife has tolerated this passion of yours all these years.
Well, it's like one of the fellows said, his wife was complaining because he's always down to his railroad, and the kid said, at least he's not in a bar. You know where he's at, you know?
We've had how many people tell us over the years how they build additions to their homes?
Oh, we did.
The car stays out in the snowbanks while they put the railroad stuff on in the garage. Well, we're going to move along and chat with a few other people, David, and we thank you so much. Have a wonderful day with your show, will you?
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Remember when you said I got those names right on my passenger cars?
Oh, God. All right, we're going again. Who we got here?
Jim McConnell.
Jim, how are you?
Not bad.
This is such a fun thing.
Yes, it is.
Tell me how you got involved with your firemen.
Fireman, well, it's family. I'm third generation, so.
Are you
Yep.
really?
Not from around this area. I'm from Pennsylvania originally, so.
How did you end up here?
Air Force. Got married and stayed in
You
stayed
and
in the
so
Air-
many thousands of others.
Yes, there is.
Have you liked it here and decided to?
My wife wanted to stay. She's from Peru, so she stayed here.
Well, that makes perfect sense, doesn't it, Jim?
Yeah, she's 37 years with a credit union.
Oh, no kidding.
Started out what was the Air Base Credit Union, then first Plattsburgh, and now they merged with Denimora. So.
And here we are on the former Plattsburgh Air Force Base.
Yep.
In one of the buildings that is now Seton Catholic Central School. It's quite a facility.
Yeah, they've got a nice facility here.
But you know, it must please you as well as it pleases me to drive around and see what they've done to rehabilitate the base, bring
Yes,
new
it
business
does.
in. You
Yes,
know?
it does. I do fire extinguishers, so I got to get out on the flight line for Pratt Whitney. And you still, from the days when the SPs were out there, you're looking for, and you see that red line. Are they going to show up? So now it's a little harder with the airport here, but I was able to go out there. I had a pass, so I go out and I still look for the SPs to show up. So
Yeah.
you still think of the same
It is.
things that they did.
As long as those big as long as those big German Shepherd dogs going after you when you go by the
Yeah.
fence. It always seems funny to me not to have to stop at a guard shack when I drive to the base. I did it for so many
Anybody
years.
that's been here for so long, they've been gone for 13 years or longer, and you still, if I could stop, or that's hard to break old habits.
Oh, it is. So, Jim, how'd you get involved in this?
Well, I've been going to train shows around, and I thought it'd be a fun a way of raising money for the County Fire Police Association. So, 10 years ago, I started it. Did a lot of traveling to different shows around, handing out flyers and stuff, and that's our 10th year. So.
That's hard to believe.
Yep.
It's been here for what?
3 years here at Seton.
3 years already?
And they've been great to us. Last night, another group came in, was looking to do a quilt show here. So.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. And the father here would like to see it rented for more.
Yeah.
Their rent is reasonable. And you talk to the kitchen staff, they'll come here and provide the food. They've been here since about 8 o'clock.
Oh, no kidding.
And they're just starting to cook the lunch. And anything that they don't serve, they're able to preserve it and don't go to waste. The kids will get it on the week.
Of course, the focal point of the whole thing is the model railroading, but there's lots of other stuff that you have to set up every year.
Yep. We got crafters here. I've always heard the guy has something for the wise. So we've got crafters that come in and for something for the wise to do.
Yeah.
And last year everybody was satisfied, so I'm hoping again this year that everybody goes away satisfied. They sold enough to make them happy, make it worth their while coming.
As long as you can make a couple of bucks for the fire police, explain to people what the fire police do and why they're here in the first place.
Well, everybody says we're the protectors of the protectors. We do traffic control. I wish I had my yellow coat. We're dressing all in yellow now, silver striping.
Are you really?
Yep. Or middle of November, everybody out in the highway's going to have a vest now. It'll be yellow with orange and silver striping. We take care of traffic control, crowd control. If they have a command post, we do security for that. And if they're doing investigations, they have us. We're the lucky ones that get to stay overnight while the other ones go home and get some sleep, come back if they think there's any suspicious cause or just during a normal investigation. And we also take care of the accountability of people going in and out while they're doing that investigation. So.
It's important. How many people involved in the group?
I say Clinton County's got about 150 fire police in the county.
Many?
Yep. And not all departments have them. We've got our area fire police, which is Area 9. I'm the vice president of that. That takes care of 4 counties, and I'd say we probably got about 300 fire police in that.
Oh, okay.
And that's Essex, Franklin, Hamilton, and Clinton. And that also includes Akwesasne, the reservation.
So it keeps you on the run a little bit.
Yes, it does. And part of my job as a vice president, I've got to go to different county meetings. So.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do. So every couple of months, I go out and visit them. And
do you have regular fundraisers, or how are all your stuff funded? Is it all by?
a lot of it, the other counties do fundraisers. They have raffles and that. Essex County has like an ongoing 50-50 they do every month. They sell tickets, and whenever they sell, they split it in half with the winner. Hamilton County, I don't know what they do because their association, a lot of the guys have lost interest. There's only like 2 or 3 active down there.
It's hard to keep things going, isn't it?
And that's a small county.
Yeah.
Large in area, but small in population. So it's hard down there. And Franklin County just got started. I think theirs are dues, but they're looking for ways to raise money for them. We're in the process of talking to people about grants, what we can get for the 4 counties.
Oh, there are grants available.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
We're seeing what we can do in that, and I've got a super bunch of guys here in the Area 9, and they want to make it the best fire police in the state.
I think that's good.
So,
makes you want to stand right up and salute.
So we're going to be looking at equipment, radios, and whatever we can get.
I think it's an important aspect of the whole picture, isn't it?
We're out there, and sometimes we're the last ones to get anything to eat or drink. And state police love us.
Oh, of course they would.
Because they don't have the people anymore.
No, they don't have the personnel.
So we're out there. We do the traffic control. They get in. If it's an accident scene, they can get their investigation done. They get out. We're all happy. It makes everybody happy.
Hey, that's the whole idea. Keep everybody happy.
Yep.
Now, do you have a personal interest in trains? Do you have
Yes,
your
I
own?
do. Yep, I have one at home.
Do you really?
Yeah. They've been there a couple of times for the press and had pictures. This year they went to George Bissell's.
I noticed George's picture. I just saw him sneak by us in the back.
He's got an O gauge and an HO. The HO was pictured, and O gauge is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
That's a beautiful layout.
Well, he's been doing it for a long time.
Yes, he has.
He was just a very young guy when I first came to town and started work with his dad for my first job in the radio business. And my earliest memories are that train layout.
Yep, I've been doing it since I've been little.
Have you really?
Yep. I haven't been collecting them that long, but probably the last 30 years, 40 years I've been collecting. So
that's a long time.
Yep.
Do you keep expanding your own layout? Or?
I'm trying to get more room in the basement, but that's negotiable with my wife.
That's right. That's the same story we hear over and over again. As I mentioned before, we talked to guys who've taken over the garage, so their cars are outside in the snowbanks while Dad's in there playing on the train.
There's been articles. Guys have built the layout high enough they can park their cars under it in the garage.
It's possible that many people watching this show haven't had trains since they were a child, or maybe never. But it's not too late to get involved in this.
It's never too late. No, it's never too late.
How would they contact somebody in your group?
Well, they can contact me, and I can get them in with the people that are in the modular club here.
Oh, there's so many people who've been doing it here forever and ever. Dave Brown and and Rosie and all the good friends.
Yes, they have. They've come a long way. This is their second layout. I was in with the first one, and they redesigned it, and I just didn't have the time to rebuild my freight yard I had on the last one. So.
Oh, really?
Yep. And all the parts off that went into my layout. I've got my granddaughter doing it.
Oh, do you?
Yep. Started her as soon as she could. She was big enough.
Never mind the dollhouse, huh?
Nope. She plays with toys, but if you go to McDonald's, she wants the boys' toys. She don't like and that's what my daughter wants. So she's got my son's N-gauge layout. I got a room with that in for her, so I got her do some fixing on the locomotives. But she comes down with me, she plays with the cars, and then if the train's going around, she'll say it's too fast or too slow, or if something happens, she runs over to see what's happening. So, and if we see a train on the CP rail now, we got to stop and watch it.
Oh, isn't that great?
Yeah, it is.
How many kids for how many generations have stopped when they couldn't get across a crossing and counted the cars in it?
Yep.
How many?
I've been doing that for years.
I count, of course, I count everything. Boy.
Yeah.
If I can get over 100 cars, I've had a good day.
Yeah, I've been doing that, and even though I'm still at my age, I stop to
Isn't
count,
it wonderful?
see how long the train is. So.
It's great to study. I don't know a great deal about the history of railroading. Calvin and I have been fortunate enough to interview people who know a lot about the history of railroading. They've written many books on the
There's been a couple on the railroads in the Adirondacks. I've got those. There's been some on the D&H. I even got one that does the original D&H Canal and Coal Company before it came into New York State. So.
It's wonderful. We've seen the books. We've talked to as many people who've written the books that are still alive and taking the pictures, like Jim Shaughnessy. On the internet too. You know, there are plenty of ways.
There's a lot of stuff out there you can get. There's historical societies out there that people get together, collect stuff. All over for even different railroads. D&H has got their own historical society. So.
Well, you know, one of my granddaughters called up and went to New York City last weekend. I said, "How'd you get there?" She said, "By train."
Yep.
Isn't that neat? So a lot of people will drive from here to Albany, get on a train, go to Penn Station, and they're right there.
You can still catch it from here in Vermont, so it's not like there's no trains up in this area yet.
And how much of our American history, the modern industrial age, is based on the advent of the railroad.
Yeah, a lot of that, if some areas wouldn't become industrialized, didn't have the railroads.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
A lot of the Adirondacks had big logging companies out through there. And the railroad wasn't there, they wouldn't have been big. So.
It's amazing to read the old books, look at the pictures, read the first-hand accounts of some of the very famous people, including presidents who visited our area and statesmen from other countries. That's cool.
Yeah, I was just reading one of my logging books on Pennsylvania, and one of the gentlemen and his family was big into that. They went to Russia to help set up tanneries over there.
Come on.
Yeah, they did. That was in the 1930s.
Oh my goodness.
They were coming over here and looking at stuff, and he went over there to help them set up.
I get an education every time I interview people. Jim, thanks so much for doing this.
Well, thank you guys for coming.
I hope you make $1 million today.
Well, that would be nice, and then we could retire for a while on those shows.
Well, there are other ways. How can people get involved in the fire police if they want to learn more about it?
Our meetings are the third Thursday of every month, except for December and July and August. We take those months off. It's around different places around the county. Our next meeting's in West Shazy. I think it's the 16th of September or November. Excuse me. It's like
November. We're doing this show on the 18th of October 2008.
It's going by quick.
Can they call you as vice president? Or
Yep, they can call me.
How do they do that?
Number 643-9446.
All right.
From out there, they get the recording, which I have my business and my name on it. So
they'll call you back.
Yep, I'll call them back. Yep.
Yep.
We can let them know we just passed the amendment, so we take associate members in.
Oh, no kidding. That's
so they can come in and help us, and that they can't hold an office. They can come in and they can help us do fundraisers and like that. So that's a big help. If anybody knows how to write grants and like that,
they're welcome too. Huh?
They're welcome. They've told us some people they've got around that we can write them, and then I talked to Janet Dupree, and she gave me a name of a lady in Betty Little's office I can contact for it. So
good. Onward and upward, right, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Thanks so much for talking with us. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love it. George Bissell, how are you?
I'm good.
I got a
good
face
to see
for
you.
radio, he said before Calvin hit the on button. Yeah, me too. Been there, done that.
Well,
we saw
there is life after that.
Yes,
isn't there?
I guess there is. We saw your recent picture and article in the paper. Isn't it fun to keep this whole thing alive?
Oh, yes. We're just big kids, but really enjoy it. And the thing about the hobby, there's just so much, you can do with it. So you never get old.
I remember your layout from when I first came here in 1961, when were you still a teenager?
61, I might have been just out of the teenage. No, that's right, 61 I would. It's hard to remember back that far.
It's hard for me, a little bit more. Yeah, come on over. But from the time you were very young, you had that layout down there.
Absolutely, yeah.
In the basement of the radio station.
Yeah. And I've always liked trains, and but I had to retire to have enough money to keep the hobby up, you know.
Well, it's not inexpensive.
No, it isn't.
When I go to some of these shows just to do some filming, I look the price on a single engine.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how some of these guys can do it, but they scrimp and save because it is a wonderful hobby.
It is, and there's so much to do. There's a construction aspect, the electrical aspect, the creative aspect, and I got in with a local group, and they do the operating sessions, which is actually building trains and making up trains and delivering them to various locations. So that I found that tremendously interesting. The trouble with that is that you get interested doing that, and then you don't do any more building. So
there are so many aspects.
Oh yes,
of it, though,
yes,
really?
yes. And it's miniature railroading.
It really is.
It's more than just a hobby, and very talented people up here. I can't get over Dave Brown, Bill Rook, Glenn Miller. These guys are great, and John Nye and Engage. They're just amazing how talented they are.
Well, and they love to build things, and love, like you said, they love to play. They love to have people come in and look at their layouts.
Oh, yes.
And these modules that we see they set up every year, it just amaze me.
Oh, yes, and this is very clever, and it works very well, and it's very adaptable, and I think this is about the third one that they've done, and they just keep getting better all the time.
Yeah. Actually, the fire police have done this for 10 years, if you can believe that.
Wow, yeah.
And this is the third one here at Seton Catholic, and I think they do a tremendous job.
Oh, they do, and I'm happy they can sponsor a show.
Yeah.
So we don't have to travel. I into O-Gauge, and I had the most recent one that I found. We're in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I wasn't going to buy anything there, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Plans.
My budget was the opposite of the stock market. That just kept going up. So
isn't it amazing? Oh, you like O-Gauge best?
There's aspects of it I do like, and there's aspects of the HO that are better. And I don't recommend getting into two scales. It's too much. But,
and some people go 3 scales and 4 scales, and some people just have the wherewithal to do it, and once you get started, it's hard to stop.
It's a question of room, basically, not even money sometimes. It's just you just have to have the room for it.
Well, we've been joking about that all day today, about how people put the cars in the snowbank and build a garage and put a layout in the garage.
Thank God I'm not in Florida, because you have to add a special room down there.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of railroaders in Florida, and they do that. So
you've always had the same space down there, right, for your trains? Do you have any at home?
Well, I had them in the garage, but with the weather being what it is, I just couldn't keep the heat on, and the wood would warp, and so it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So I basically I'm lucky that the basement is fairly dry, and I keep a humidifier going, so it keeps it in good shape.
Have you still got the same stuff, the same trains you had when you started?
I wish I did.
Come on, none of them?
I've got one of my original engines. I don't think it runs. It's 3-rail rather than 2-rail.
Yeah, sure.
So, and it's probably a collector's item now, but
I would say it is. We're both collector's items by now, George.
It's even older than we are, Gordy.
So you've gone into the modern age with the digital controllers and everything?
Oh yeah. That's another thing I learned from the club here, that I was very happy in running 2 trains, with one transformer, and they opened this field up, and I said, holy cow. Now, I should be angry because it cost me a lot of money.
Isn't it great to see these guys, each with a controller, one train right behind the other, and no major mishaps?
And the instruction books are about 200 pages long.
It's like learning a computer.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm too old to learn that, but you can always get help. Everybody's very nice about helping.
When you're into railroading on any scale, it's a real education.
Oh, yes.
You normally study the history of real railroading, So you're involved in the whole thing from the big scales to the little scales.
Oh yeah, and usually model railroaders are also what they call rail fans. They like the big trains. I mean, we'll stop at a railroad crossing and let a train go by where everybody else is trying to drive around.
We were just talking about that. How many kids through history have counted the cars in a freight train at a crossing, whether or not it was holding you up or not?
I know. It's and there's just something in my blood that I just love trains. I don't know, can't.
Well, it's so much an integral part of the history of this North Country, as well as just about every other part of the United States.
You know, it was interesting. Last night I was out to dinner and I met Joe Burke.
Did you really?
I
haven't seen Joe in a while.
He's looking great. Yeah. He's writing a book on William Minor.
William H.
The man and the myth. Now I looked up on the internet and they said,
get a hold of Joe Burke. Remember that. File that.
They said I looked his Minor up on the internet, and they had a whole article, and they said he was one of the richest men in America at one time.
Yes.
Joe Burke said that's a myth. So I want to, when his book comes out, I want to read his book. So.
Well, he was certainly a very interesting character, both he and his wife.
Yeah.
And talk about influence on the North Country.
Oh yeah.
From all the way from miners all the way down to the properties and that $1 million dam. When I first came up here, I heard about this $1 million dam at the Flat Rock section in Altona.
Yeah.
Calvin finally took me up there with some of our friends from Plattsburgh State.
I saw your show on,
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We have, I suppose that's one of the reasons I've stayed here, because I've made so many great friends like you, George, but we have a unique part of the country up here.
Oh, I love it. That's in my blood, too.
Yeah, it is. People say, when are you going south for the winter? And we haven't made that move yet. Every year my wife and I say, is it too cold yet? But you know what? We hang in there, don't we?
Well, Judy and I go for about 6 weeks, and she'd like 6 months, I'd like 6 weeks. Because I really miss the North Country. When you get back up here and you see those mountains and the hills, and I just feel this is where I want to be, you know.
You know, it sounds almost trite, because every time Calvin turns the camera on, I find myself promoting this area. A lot of it has to do with the unique mountains and lakes, and now at this time of year, the fabulous foliage. But a lot of it, George, has to do with the people, and you've made thousands and thousands of fast friends, and so have I since I've been here.
The people are great.
The people up here are terrific for many reasons.
Oh, yeah. I don't know as many as you do, but...
I don't believe a word of that. But it is a great place to live and to work and to raise a family.
It is.
And it's events like this that bring people together.
Oh, yes. And it's nice to see the crowd here this morning. I always get concerned, you know, but the weather's been good, and it's really nice turnout, so...
Are you in this club?
I'm loosely associated with it. If they need help.
That's what I am with a lot of things.
I originally built one of the modules, but I got so much to do with my own that I kind of gave it up. And then I'm working, and several of these guys too are working on the Champlain Valley Transportation Museum. There's actually 2 layouts, and you and Calvin ought to get over there and check those out.
We've been over there, and we need to go back every now and again, because they have so many wonderful plans, especially in terms of the railroad.
Oh, yes. They're building an O-gauge. It's 3-rail, building that should be interactive with children. And we've got an HO gauge that we're building, and that's going to be basically a diorama type. We want to do the Plattsburgh station, maybe Hotel Champlain, the Chazy's railroad station, the Minor, and that, I guess he was the only person who used that railroad station. So
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Maybe we can get the trolley run set up from the old Plattsburgh traction.
They were talking about a trolley run too. So
somebody sent
when you have spare time, Gordy, we'll bring you over.
Somebody sent me a photograph last night of the trolley system out by the former old base, the trolley going by.
I remember trolley cars here. That's how old I am.
Come on.
No, I do.
I remember the tracks being downtown.
Yeah.
I finally took some of the tracks up, and I I thought I was a millionaire when they gave me one of the spikes.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember the trucks, but I do remember the trolleys.
Yes,
At least I think I do. I mean, that's going way back, you know.
Who knows if that was another life? We've lived a few of
Oh,
those.
geez, yeah.
George, you're the best. Thanks so much for your interest, because you've helped to perpetuate this hobby, and it's, as people can see, it covers how many generations? You know, there's great grandpas here and little tiny kids, and everybody's loving it.
Well, thank you, and you and Calvin do a great job. I mean, in bringing out some of the great aspects of the North Country. It is a wonderful place to live.
There are a lot of stories to tell, aren't there?
Yes.
George, best to Judy.
Oh, thank you.
Have a wonderful
and
winter.
Kay and the family.
Thank you, sir.
So,
see you later.
Right.
Dave Brown says, you got to get over there. This guy's got 3 different gauges here. Who are you?
My name's Rob DeGraw from Plattsburgh.
How are you, Rob?
Fine. How are you doing, Gordy?
This is great. You're attracting a little crowd here.
I guess so. A little bit more than I expected
I had
today.
to stand here while you got your sandpaper out, because
Yes.
isn't that amazing? Tell people why you have to do that.
It's because of thin film of sediment and oxide builds up on the rails, and it needs to be cleaned periodically so that the wheels make electrical contact with the track.
That's always been true of model railroading,
Right.
hasn't it?
It's always fussy and finicky, always.
How did you decide to go with all 3 gauges here?
Well, it was kind of a toss-up. First, let me mention that I have railroading in my blood. Both my grandfathers were railroad men
Come
for D&H and the New York Central.
No, in this
Yes.
area?
In this area, yes.
Isn't that wonderful?
And originally I wanted to do a layout with HO scale slot cars and HO train. They used to make a product that was called a crossover, that you used to be able to incorporate both HO scale model motoring and model railroading.
I didn't know that.
And I didn't think you could find them anymore and everything. It was a product that was made probably back in the 60s, and everything is probably so hard to get a hold of. Everything. So I said, well, I have slot cars. I have the HO scale slot cars. I have 3 sets of them from dating back into the 60s.
Oh, boy.
And I also have a newer electric set. Everything, but I don't think this is going to fly. So I said, I know what I'll do. I said, I'll incorporate the 3 scales, the O, which was originally the O27, the HO, and the N scale, or the postage stamp they used to call it, into one layout. And to put one inside the other and try to adapt the scenery to all 3 of them, so it more or less blended in. And I go from mountains more or less down to seashore, and it worked.
How long have you had this?
I built it about 2 years ago with my son, and it took us about 2 weeks to do it and everything.
That's amazing.
And there's some fussing and everything after that has to be done, of course, but I'm surprised that it's turned out and it worked as well as it did.
Well, look at that. I'll tell you, the little kids are going crazy.
I know.
They just get so close. Look at this. Isn't that wonderful?
And most all of these products and everything that you can see here, all the trains, the track, accessories and everything, most of it can all be purchased at local toy and hobby stores.
Oh, no kidding.
Or departments, or even a grocery store. My son bought a Price Chopper train.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
So and everything, and most of it and everything is just inventiveness and the rest of it's inventiveness and ingenuity.
Are you involved in this club?
No, I'm not. I'm just myself and everything. Just a hobby or a pastime that I like.
Is this the first time you've shown it in the public?
Oh yes, it's the first time.
How did you happen to get hooked up today? Did you hear about it?
Well, for the past several years, I've known Jim. I've been to craft and hobby shows, and I mentioned that I had a layout like this, and that I was going to bring it and everything for the last couple of years and everything. So I put my money where my mouth is and called Jim and brought it today.
How does it come apart, or did you have to load it onto your How did you get that? This is pretty.
My son and I carried it out the door of the house. Everything. It has casters on it, and I could roll it under my futon in my mobile home.
Oh, you got it. Come
Yes,
on.
my father made me a train and everything set and everything on a board with casters. I could roll it under my bed.
Who would ever
So I put the casters on it and I could roll it under my futon at home.
Oh my goodness.
And we just have to carry it out carefully, of course, and gingerly, and load it. It fits right in the bed of the pickup truck and everything, and with a little extra help here and there. And it's just to move things around.
I saw you brought have you got other cars with you? Did you?
Just this, everything. I have more at home.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yes, everything. I didn't want to bring it all. There's everything. There's more scenery, and there's more called rolling stock or train cars and everything. I have some older, more collectible train cars and things and accessories and scenery and stuff at home that I just didn't want to bring. It's just old and more fragile. Didn't want anything to happen to it.
You just don't see the 3-rail track very often these days, do you?
No. Well, this is O-Gauge here. Vermont Toy and Hobby sells this. That's where I bought this set from. It's called a Mine Train here, Copper Range Mine Train.
Yeah, that's great.
And they make other sets too. One's called, I think it's a Pennsylvania Flyer and everything. And there's several sets, and I'm putting in a plug for Vermont Toy and Hobby. Ken and Dan and everything at Vermont Toy and Hobby, they're great people. Everything, they've helped me so much with so many things. I bought other accessories and train cars and rolling stock and everything.
It's so interesting how you put things together and glued the little stones.
This is all basically just this foam here.
Yeah. Oh yes, I see it. Yeah.
Sheets and everything. It's just rolled up and everything. Are torn apart to look like snow. And a makeshift tunnel and everything. It's just imagination and ingenuity.
You got a lot of stuff. You got the airport over here.
This is a consolidated B-24 Liberator bomber from World War II. How many people would know or remember that?
I would, and I remember well.
I'm a World War II aviation buff.
Are you really?
As well. Planes, trains, and automobiles, aren't we all?
If you would only know, and I've talked about this on television before, when I grew up during that time period, my father was a minister, and I would sit in church and I would draw planes in the flyleaves of all the hymn books in church. So somewhere, if those books survive in a library or in archives somewhere, they'll see my pictures of like this one, and the P-38s and the.
I'm an Air Force veteran from the Vietnam era and everything. And I have books and library books and everything at home, and everything with all the planes and descriptions and everything of that time period. I also have a book of trains and everything that's similar to that, and from one of our local bookstores here. I won't put a plug in for them, but Borders. But anyway,
that's great. Do you add to this, or have you got other tracks at home?
Keep. I have more and everything. There is more here. There's more track and more stock and everything here. I didn't bring it all with me, but there is more. Everything. I could make this much larger if I ever decided that I want to, but I like it the way it is.
Well, it's very neat. It certainly attracted our attention when we came by.
I can alter or change things from time to time and everything as I feel fit or whatever, and everything happens to come to mind, everything in a daydream or what have you, and
is that a
just to make it a little more interesting.
Is this a car wreck? What is this?
This is a car wreck right here. This is a guy robbing a store here, getting caught by the cop with a dog here. It's a bear on the runway here. There's a bear coming down the hill here, drinking a Coke on a snowmobile.
I love it.
There's a moose confrontation with a van over here, and a little head-on collision.
No wonder the big kids and the little kids like to take a look at everything.
It's a taxi cab that got caught in the crossing gate.
Isn't that fantastic? Just stuff, a lot of stuff.
Yes.
It's wonderful. So
here's one and everything, just everything is guy up the creek without a paddle here, and I mean all kinds of different little things here.
Up the creek without a paddle. I love it. You're the man. Thanks so much for making this a good day for us.
It's
good
a pleasure.
to see you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You too.
Oh, look at this. This is the little teeny tiny ones. It says 3J rail, but is this the O gauge? I think this is the O gauge.
No. O is
Oh, no, that's the
O
bigger
is
one.
bigger. HO is half of O, so
I
this
see.
might be N. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I bet
find
you
out.
we can find out in a few minutes, but this is a really nice setup, isn't it?
Yep.
Can you chat with us for a second?
Get him away from Carl over there.
Get away from our friend Carl Cokes. He'll have you right in his.
got the big ones.
He'll have you in his garden railway in 5 minutes.
How you doing?
Who are you?
John Nye. How you doing?
John Nye. Tell us about your layout here. I love it, John.
Well, it's
Calvin said, I've never seen so many trees on a railroad in my life. This
Well,
is the Adirondacks, right?
yeah, it is the Adirondacks, and most of the trees that you see on there are in the wild. This is lichen that you could find in most people's backyards in the country, and weeds that you find along the roads and in fields.
I don't know how you do that. That's amazing. Did you build all this?
Yes.
Did you really? How do you make these trees like this? How do you do this?
Well, it's with the lichen here. You get it in the wild. It's kind of a creamy white color,
Yes.
and well, a little bit
More like
lighter
that.
color
yeah,
than that.
Yeah.
And the time-consuming part is taking the pine needles and dirt and stuff out of it. And
You mean this is all, a lot of this is real material?
oh yeah, it all is. Every
Come
bit of
on.
it. Yes.
You gotta be kidding me. What made you decide to do this kind of a layout?
Well, trees to buy them from a dealer or whatever, they're extremely expensive. Like something like this you get maybe a dozen or something, they're around $12, $13.
Oh, no kidding.
That's a lot of money. So I go out in the wild and find it,
And then you spray it?
spray them, and coat them with a styrofoam.
Oh,
It's
no
real
kidding.
fine foam stuff, and they have it in different colors, and try to match it up. I'll try to do a kind of an outer Adirondack kind of
Boy,
scene.
we'll have to go around the other side after a while. Look, you got mountains over there.
Oh
You
yeah,
got-
3J rail is that's my son Jay, my son Jared, and myself John. That's where it came up. It's kind of a spin-off of 3J rail.
That's the 3J rail. Have you been doing it for a long time?
Yes, since 1978.
No kidding.
Yeah.
When did you start this actual layout?
1978.
Oh,
I built this first module right.
Well, let's walk up this way, Calvin. All right, we moved a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay. I built this first section in 1978. It's approximately from here to here, 6 feet. And that was originally going to be an N-track module with 3 tracks.
Yes.
You see at a lot of big train shows.
Right.
It's kind of a national organization. But being here in the North Country and being kind of isolated and being a lone wolf, it was impractical to go to a N-track meet. So I decided to make it into 1 track, and
What gauge is this now?
this is N scale.
This is N scale. All right. So everything is so tiny. Look at the water. Look at the little
Oh yeah, these
canoers in there. It's so tiny. Oh, you got real water in there. No wonder it looks like real water. Uh-oh, floating downstream.
Yeah,
They're going to be in big trouble now.
Yeah, they go over the falls.
Oh, what? No wonder kids and adults would love this. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? How do you do this? You got a pump under there somewhere?
Yeah, a little fountain pump that I got at Walmart, and the water comes.
This is amazing.
Bring his camera around. I can show you where the outlet is.
I'm looking at these people here, which I didn't even see before. I'm old. You got me going with these little teeny,
Yeah, there's some
tiny
bathing. This guy here,
people.
he's about ready to jump in.
He's going to take a flying leap.
Yeah,
My
This
goodness.
representation of
yeah,
power
when
plant
you got
that you
this-
see along the Saranac River.
Yep. When you got this scale, everything is a lot smaller, right?
Right.
So you built all of this stuff yourself, you
Yes.
and your family, or
Yes.
what? Had some help?
Yeah, my sons.
What?
And I got Christopher Strait, who's with me today. He's been helping me recently. And,
Are you
yeah,
adding to
doing a
this
very
all
good
the
job.
time, or
oh yeah,
like what's the latest thing you did?
on the very end, I've got my factory in Roundhouse,
We're going to take a look at that after a while.
and that's just the beginning stages. I haven't done much detail into it yet.
It's the most ambitious thing. You must lay awake at night and get these ideas about what you want to put in.
Most of the work that I do is in the late fall and wintertime.
Really?
Yeah,
I see.
I don't even touch it in the summer.
I see a blinking light in this building down here. What would that be? Right here. I see the blinking light in this brown building.
Well, it's a little welding unit.
Oh, is that what it
It's
is? Come on.
It's a fabrication plant. So where they do steel fabrication, and so I have a little welder in there. He's busy.
So you just come up with an idea, and then you get what you need to build the stuff.
Right.
But I can't believe these figures are so tiny. I don't know how you could even. You'd almost have to
I
have
hand paint
tweezers.
those.
Come on.
Yeah.
You hand paint them?
Yeah.
You got way better eyes than I got, my friend. I'll tell you that. So this
A
is.
dear friend of mine came over one time. You must know Arto Monaco.
Oh, we were just talking about artists.
He was telling me you couldn't believe that I painted the little.
Well, you know, we were just talking about Arto because his good friend Asa Dar's
Oh yeah, I know him.
behind us.
Yeah, he came over with him
And,
when he came over. So
You know, Arto, just an icon in the North Country,
Oh,
and you know
yes.
how good he was at creating things. Did he see your layout?
oh yeah, he loved it.
He loved. Well, he was even at 90 years old. He was a little kid at heart, wasn't he? He was the best.
Gordy, I zoomed in and I can see the pupil on the eyes and those hand-painted figures
You
down there.
can, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's. I can barely see the figures. If you can see pupils on their eyes, you'd better look at this guy. He almost got
Looks
waylaid.
efficient.
Oh, God, isn't that the best?
And this scene here is the All Sable Lakes.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Background, kind of. I try to make it look like it blends into where you're looking off into the distance.
Now, what are these rocks and things? What is that made out of?
Believe it or not, this section in here is broken ceiling tile.
Come on. Does this remind you? We had a good friend who's not Ron Venn, who
And
could
then I
make
covered it with
stuff.
plaster of Paris.
Who would ever dream? I'll tell you, if you
Well,
didn't.
a lot of the ideas I get are from magazines, and so
This is truly amazing, just to come up with the idea of a setup and then decide to put all these trees, all these mountains. I want to move around to the other side because we have so much more to see. You move, we'll shut the camera off and take another shot.
you got your.
All right, we moved around the corner. Tell us what we're looking at here.
This is a typical coal mine you might find in maybe Pennsylvania area or West Virginia. And this would be a passing sighting. Usually run 2 trains going each direction. One would pull onto the siding and stop and wait for the other train to go by. I got that in 3 different areas.
We got some trucks here, little working men, some
Yeah.
Euclid trucks. Oh, we got what do we got? A beach over here? Come
Yeah.
on.
And a little guy on a diving board.
Oh my goodness.
This one doesn't have the real water, but I tried to simulate as close as I
What
could.
are all these controls here?
They operate the turnouts and power to the tracks, and I can, if I wanted to stop a train, I could flip a switch, and I could stop the train where it is.
You got some plugs over here for something.
Yeah, those are for the Digitrax controllers.
Oh, I should have known. Just plug it right in and
Plug it in.
give
yeah.
it a shot. It boggles your mind because you just can't take it all in at the same time. What the heck is this over here?
This is like a
Recreation
town and jail
area?
park or something with a.
Oh,
And I got a little bluegrass band playing there. If I had
can
the
almost
music,
hear him now.
yeah, you can see them.
Yeah, you should have a little music coming out of there. A lot of
Get
people
there. All these things take time, and
take time and money too.
Yeah.
Look at the community here you have set up. So what did you do? Take photographs that you glued on the back and try to
Yes.
blend the paint in together?
this is for example, right here is
Yes.
a scene of Cascade Lakes coming
No kidding.
coming down from Lake Placid towards Keene.
You see the road going along?
Yeah.
Trying
So
to blend it in.
Well, you've got a lot of realism here. That's the whole idea. Little kids must go berserk when they come and
They
see
do.
this.
They love it.
And you told me that
Especially the tunnels where the trains go through the tunnels and
oh,
across
kids
the
love
bridges.
tunnels. Everybody loves tunnels. You told me that several years ago. We actually showed a picture of this layout, but you weren't here. You had
That's
to work,
right.
huh?
I had to work.
Well, I'm so delighted that you're here today. These figures are so absolutely tiny, but everything has to fit the scale, right?
Right?
What's this? Peru Grain Exchange? Come
yeah,
on.
just
I love it.
like everything is fictitious. It's
Of course.
I kind of have a
Superior
basic idea
Auto
was-
Parts, yeah.
was a like passing sighting near Keysville. This would be all fictitious, and it would run along the Allsable River up through Clintonville to Allsable Forks, and then Allsable Forks up to Wilmington, and then from Wilmington up along the Whiteface Mountain to Lake Placid. So that is kind of a representation of what I wanted to do.
How much track do you have here? Do you have any clue? Like, it's just so much. I can't believe it.
I'd guess maybe 70 feet.
Oh, I would guess more than 70 feet. Because you got,
That'd be the main line.
if you
the
include,
main line
if you
track.
include everything here.
With everything, I don't know. I'm
What, we
not
got
really
a soccer game going on over there?
Yeah, that's Lake Placid Central School against Allsable Valley. That's their colors,
I love it.
the yellow and blue.
Yeah, we don't know who's winning. Wait a minute, there's a scoreboard up there. Does it say 0-0? I can't read the scoreboard from here.
2-1.
2-1, all right.
3-2.
3-2, Calvin can see
Home
it.
team's leading 3-2.
A home team is leading 3-2. And you got a farm right next door.
Yeah.
And you got a meat packing company here, right? Oh man, he's got the best of 17 different worlds here at 3J
Okay.
Rail. Look at this.
And this mural that you see here is that's taken right at the golf course just coming out of Lake Placid. And I took spot pictures. I take one picture and then
sure.
another one and another one and another one.
Right.
And then I put it all together. And you can see the ski jump in the background.
Oh, the ski jump right over here. Right above the school, huh?
Yeah. And this is a scene of a typical swamp that you would see in the North Country. Some beaver house and a brook.
Oh, look at this.
Dead
Oh,
trees and
I gotta start
something
paying
you would see
attention
along the
here.
Adirondack Railroad.
Yeah, you certainly would. And don't you love it? Have you ever been on
Oh
it?
yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
I love these scenic railroads, and I hope they open up the new spur all the way down through. So where would that be? From
I
Remsen?
can't wait.
From Remsen? They've talked about it for a long time. We took the ride. Is it?
It's on the internet.
It's, oh yes, you know something? I want to make sure that I tell our viewers that our TV shows are now on the internet. They don't have to have a cable hooked up at their house to watch it. They can just log on to www.plattsburgh.com and they can click on Hometown Cable. They'll see my ugly mug on there. They can noodle around and see the various shows that we've done. And ultimately, we hope that every single program that I've done, every program that Bob Venn has done, every program that Calvin has done since the early 1980s will be available for viewing right on the internet
That's incredible.
anywhere in the world where they have access to the internet. So that's great. This show will be on. All your friends and wherever you have friends and relatives in other countries or states will be able to watch this show. Won't that be great?
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Again, that's Plattsburgh.com. It's very easy for people to find if they want to turn their computers on, even while we're watching this, and look at some of the other shows. Somebody asked me, when are the wind farm shows you did got to be on? Calvin says, hey, they're on there right now. Just click on them and go. Okay, what else have we got down here?
This is my newer sections of the layout. basically an industrial area. We got a paper mill, possibly Ticonderoga.
Could be. Why not?
And I got a roundhouse with a turntable.
I love the
and
roundhouse. Does
power-
turntable work
power
or
plant.
not?
Yes, it does.
It does? Really?
It's have a little trouble with it right now, but
Really?
Normally it does work.
Now, did you build these buildings from scratch, or did you have to buy?
Actually, some of these I purchased, and I'm
Yep.
having to do some more detailing to it. That all takes time, but eventually it'll come through.
I know what this is. You can't fool me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what
I
that
know
is.
what this is. That's the old outhouse right
Yeah.
there. We can't tell if it's a one hole or a two, but we'll let you use your
Probably a one-holer
imagination.
at this point.
This a house? Is this a house being built?
Yes.
I see a ladder up on the side. How do you decide what cars to buy? You just see something you like and
Yeah,
pick it up somewhere?
That's the case.
Do you have?
If it's a road name I like, I'll just pick it up. Or
How did you get hooked on this gauge? Just because you like the size of it, or?
no, actually, a dear friend of mine who passed away, Albert Warner in Keene, New York, had this scale, and I was very good friends with his son, and I just liked it since then.
No kidding. You never dabbled in any of the other gauges at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I got some Macho equipment.
Oh, do you?
But not.
I should
But
know.
it's really tough when you're in one scale to go to another one, and it would just be very costly.
Well, I think you pointed out very graphically here today that this is a work in progress.
Yeah, it is. I'm just doing something new to it whenever I can, and
Isn't it fun?
oh yeah.
Do you have anybody that helps you on it? Now you said you've got two other J's. Do they build stuff, or
Occasionally.
they give you moral support, or?
Yeah, that's basically it.
So you must have a million little tiny paintbrushes. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Do you? Do you do it under a magnifying glass?
Yes, I
when you
do.
Paint?
And my eyesight is starting to fail, and
I don't
yes.
believe a word of that based on what I've seen here today.
Well-
That's pretty amazing. What do you think you might add? You might add next. You're still working on this area, you said.
I may change my mountain scene to make it a little easier to transport.
I can't
as it stands
even
now-
imagine how this comes apart in several sections.
Yeah. They're 4 and 6 foot modules, and then there's a couple smaller ones. And it all fits into a 1995 wheelchair conversion van.
Come on. I cannot believe that.
So
I think we should have filmed it when he had it apart. I can't believe
I'd
it.
really like to have that done sometime. when we come to a,
'Cause
come to
people
a show,
say, "Look."
somebody take a camera and watch the whole progress of it being put together.
Yeah, well,
And it would be roughly 2.5, 3 hours.
oh.
But then you put it in fast forward or something and see it all.
Talk about a labor of love. But it's easy to get passionate about model railroading, isn't it?
Yes.
And you like the real railroads too.
Oh,
don't you?
absolutely.
Have you visited others? Any of the other scenic railroads, or?
What stimulated me was CP Rail and CN. In 1980, my wife and I took a trip across Canada on the Via Rail.
See, that's something that
And-
Kay and I have dreamed about all of our married lives. And you liked it?
Oh, I loved it.
Oh,
And
boy.
I
He's
think
doing
about
it
that a
today.
lot.
And you did that, and you
And-
stay right, you sleep right on the train, right?
Yes, it was a fantastic.
And what year did you do that?
1980.
28 years ago.
That's where, and I started the railroad in 1979. So it was immediately after that is when I kind of decided on
So that kind of
road name.
really sealed the deal, didn't it?
that. And of course, CP Rail now has the D&H.
Oh yeah.
And so it all fit together.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Neck warmer?
Well, I'll tell you what. You've done a magnificent job. You've got smoke coming out of this smokestack over
Yeah,
here.
That's Christopher did that. He
No
did a really
kidding.
nice job of that.
Well, our
Nice idea.
Our good friend, the late Ron Venn of Plattsburgh, was a modeler.
Wait a second. I think
Yep.
you might have a problem there.
All right, go check it out. We'll see you later. This is truly an amazing setup and an amazing outfit, and I've learned a lot today. This is almost a lifetime of work when you check everything out. Isn't it amazing and wonderful?
Just incredible what people put into their hobbies, and you know, you couldn't pay them to do this kind of work. Probably.
Are
You gotta
kidding?
love it. You gotta love
He'd
it.
be a multi-millionaire if that happened. I love it. Oh, he's checking out track. You can understand, well, things could happen, like the guy we saw with a piece of sandpaper over there. This is, I remember now seeing parts of this another time when we were here, but isn't it nice when somebody explains to you how that passion evolved?
Yeah, and you really appreciate in talking with them the amount of effort it takes to come up with something like this here. You come here and you say it looks nice, but you don't realize how much work he's gone into it, and you can imagine it. But
Who would know when you came here that he picked that stuff off the side of the road and picked the pine needles out of it and got these little shrubs and sprayed them and painted them, and it's amazing. And it certainly is realistic.
And to see the little kids, their eyes. That little boy there with Tom and Elaine Laundry over there, he just couldn't get enough of it. And Elaine said he's got one down in the basement down at their home.
Really?
So yeah.
Well, you know.
Look at this one here.
Look at this, isn't that beautiful? Well, you know what? This fosters imagination among the kids, and it's so much better than any other ways of learning things. It's almost hands-on. Did you fix your problem?
Yes,
did you
I
have a
did.
train wreck, or what did you?
Well, not really. Minor derailment.
Just a minor derailment. You got it all tuned back up.
Seems to be here at the
Nothing
moment.
crashed. I don't see any tow trucks going to the scene.
We do have our occasional derailments and
Oh yeah.
not too many head-on collisions, but
Oh no. Oh, you've done a wonderful job, and I really appreciate you spending a little time with us today.
I'm glad to meet you.
You got the old blood
I've
boiling.
seen a lot of your shows, and I've never really had a chance to meet you in person.
It's
a pleasure, Gordon.
it's about time. Have a wonderful day and have
Same
a
to
great
you.
life. We can't wait to see you next time.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have something different then.
We'll be there. See you later. You know, the amazing part of Hometown Cable and our little corner is we never know who we're going to run into and what we're going to talk about, even though we have a general subject in mind. This is true of this wonderful modeling railroad show and craft show at Seton Catholic in October on the 18th in 2008. We have met fascinating people. We've only interviewed a few of the people who brought their trains here, who are a member of the club, some of the people in the fire police organization, some of the crafters and other modelers who are here selling their wares. But I hope we've given you a taste of what model railroading is all about. And if you are in a tremendous argument with your wife right now about how to spend that $500 that you were saving for a rainy day, I dare say she might lose unless she's the one that says, why don't we go out and buy some trains? It's such a pleasure for us to do this show, thanks to Calvin and everybody who make it possible. Again, I want to remind you who are viewing this program, please pass the word. You can see our show, some of the little infomercials we do, and many other things on a great new website that's available worldwide on the internet called www.plattsburgh.com. Look the site over very carefully. Maybe you'd like to even patronize some of the businesses listed there. And maybe, just maybe, if you let your finger do the walking with that little mouse, you'll find a lot of the shows that you've come to love and enjoy on Hometown Cable. And thanks to Brian McBride for making that website possible. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Pass the word about Hometown Cable. Support us with your checks and with your good wishes as often as you can. And who knows where we're going to be next time for our little corner.